Hold on.
You sure can actually. You know the.
It's like surreal.
The congregation of soup has.
No.
This is what
No. Cereal is not a soup. I said we can
Oh, and then this. Yeah, it's basically like that. Okay. I told it that so I already has class exam notes on the other side.
Do we have everybody?
Yeah, do you have a timer on your phone that we can use so I can take pictures while we're doing it? Or do you need it for something?
Yeah, well,
Maybe it's together.
He's gonna run it.
okay, yes.
We get 8 minutes the first and then they get a team thing. I don't remember.
Let's do 8 minutes. Okay, we'll do 8 minutes prep time per team. So there's that for.
There's teams.
Where?
Okay,
Yes.
are you guys ready?
As ready as I'll be.
Okay, so for the purposes of those watching, we have an affirmative team, they're for the resolution, and we have a negative team, they're against the resolution. Okay, so that's what we normally would flip a coin, and then you would find out in the moment what you're doing. But for this debate, we picked ahead of time, so they already know. Okay. Okay, this is going to be 8 minutes. Should we just set a?
So then signal limit 1 minute and then at 30 seconds.
When he says, he starts with but he's gonna say, are the timers ready? All
Just
that
sit
stuff
here.
first. The part he starts.
Thank you, by the way.
Yes.
Ready? First affirmative constructive. Is the judge ready?
Yes.
Is the timer ready?
Yes.
Negative team? My partners, Reagan Adams, Karina Heyer, and I, Sawyer Bush, are for the resolution that the United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason we are here today is to discuss the abuses of the United States government by the means of domestic surveillance put upon its own citizens. According to a survey conducted by the Associated Press for the University of Chicago, its findings showed that over 70% of Americans believe the United States government is severely overreaching in the area of surveillance of its own citizens. What's more, since the beginning of this great country in 1776, and in its founding documents of 1787 through 1791, our fathers of the Constitution knew the importance of privacy, that each citizen must be protected from an overreaching government, that these same citizens have God-given rights to shield them and aid them in the endeavor of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Observation 1, definitions. Definition 1, domestic surveillance. According to the National Security Agency, or better known as the NSA, domestic surveillance involves the collection and warehousing of all domestically generated information streams. The mission of Domestic Surveillance Directorate is simple: collect, process, and store U.S. citizen data for the good of the nation. Definition 2, the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by the oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Definition 3, privacy. The U.S. government's definition of privacy is the right to be free from unwarranted collection, use, and disclosure of personal information. Definition 4, curtail. To make less by cutting off or away some parts. Observation 2, harms. Harm 1, The United States federal government's domestic surveillance is violating the Fourth Amendment. Quote, according to a former Supreme Court justice named Potter Stewart, the Fourth Amendment and its personal rights it secures have a long history. At the very core stands the right of a man to retreat into his own home and there be free from government intrusion. Harm 2. The United States government is invading the privacy of its citizens. Quote, according to Patrick Toomey, the deputy director of ACLU, when speaking about United States versus Hashab Army, he found that warrantless queries or searches conducted under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or better known as FISA, violated the Fourth Amendment. The ruling is the first of its kind, and it follows years of public revelation about how Section 702 has been used by the government to conduct warrantless surveillance of Americans, including protesters, members of Congress, and journalists. Harm 3. Government used the threat of terrorist attacks to take away citizens' rights of privacy. Quote, the ACLU states, just 45 days after the attacks of September 11, 2001, a panicked Congress passed with virtually no debate the USA Patriot Act. The law amounted to an overnight revision of the nation's surveillance laws that vastly expanded the government's authority to spy on its own citizens, while simultaneously reducing checks and balances on those powers. Observation 3, the plan. Mandate. Repeal all of the Patriot Act and all laws that came from it having to do with the illegal surveillance of U.S. citizens. Also, establish a surveillance commissioner giving them the power to thoroughly examine the governing U.S. intelligence agencies, further protecting the United States citizens. Agency, Congress. Funding. No extra funding is needed, as the budget would come from the current intelligence agency's congressional funding. Enforcement. A commissioner who would report to the president. Advantage 1, or observation 4, advantages. Advantage 1. With further protections of the Fourth Amendment, the citizens will have full faith that their persons, houses, and papers will be protected just as the Founding Fathers have intended. Quote, as Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky said, the Fourth Amendment is what we fought the Revolutionary War over. Advantage 2. With the knowledge that surveillance programs of the federal government now have oversight, Americans can trust what the government can once again grow. Statistic. As of April 2024, 22% of Americans say they trust the government in Washington to do what is right, which is among the lowest measures in nearly 7 decades of polling. Advantage 3. Americans will have faith that in the event of a terrorist attack, their civil liberties will not be taken away, thus losing what it means to be an American citizen. I leave you with this final quote from Benjamin Franklin. Quote, those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Therefore, my partners, Reagan Adams, Karina Heyer, and I, Sawyer Bush, are for the resolution that the United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. Thank you. I am now ready for cross-examination.
Okay. Is Abram doing process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Don't start the timer.
Don't start it yet, till he starts. Oh, do they get
They're
prep time?
supposed to just get right up and do it. But it just sometimes does.
Yeah.
Cross-examining. I asked if the timer is starting, correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Are the judges ready?
Yes.
Timer ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Can you tell me what Section 702 is one more time,
Section 702 is a law that came from the Patriot Act
please?
that allows the government to spy on its citizens without by ignoring the Constitution.
Okay. So I noticed in I believe it was your first or second advantage, you stated that citizens would be safer from
Safe from the government intrusion of their own home.
okay, and this happens
Laws.
Sorry, could you repeat your curtail definition?
To make less by cutting off or away some part.
Could you also repeat your plan?
Mandate, repeal all the Patriot Act and all laws that came from it, hence Section 702. That came from it having to do with the illegal surveillance of U.S. citizens. Also establish a surveillance commissioner, giving them the power to thoroughly examine the governing U.S. intelligence agencies, further protecting the United States citizens. The agency is Congress. Funding, no extra funding is needed. Enforcement is the commissioner who would report to the president.
And could you also repeat your second advantage statistic for me?
As of April 2024, only 22% of Americans say that they trust in the government in Washington to do what is right, which is among the lowest measures in nearly 7 decades of polling.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, do you guys want to use some of your prep time? Okay. You have you have 8 total.
Can you tell us when 2 minutes is up?
Yeah. Sorry. I need to tell him what did she say? How many? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, that's 2 minutes.
Okay. 1 more minute. Judges, is the timer ready?
Yes.
Is the affirmative team ready? 1NC. My partners Abram and Abigail and I stand against the resolution that the United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. In terms of definitions, Abigail, can I have the page? Oh, I have it. In terms of definitions, we agree with most of them, except I feel like the domestic surveillance definition should be better clarified. And so we would say that it's the act of closely watching a person or thing, especially to prevent it or detect a crime. And that's by Merriam-Webster.com. Okay, harms. The affirmative team brought up that it invades people's privacy. But people don't care as much about their privacy as they claim because they throw it around carelessly. Here's a quote. It says, "But even as the public expresses worry about various aspects of their digital privacy, many Americans acknowledge that they're not always diligent about paying attention to the privacy policies and terms of service they regularly encounter. Fully 97% of Americans say they are ever asked to approve privacy policies, yet only about 1 in 5 adults overall say they always, 9%, or often, 13%, read a company's privacy policy before agreeing to it. Some 38% of adults maintain that they sometimes read such policies, but 36% say they never read a company's privacy policy before agreeing to it." Source, pewresearch.org. Though people claim to be super concerned about their personal privacy, specifically through online platforms, as proven by this quote, people aren't that serious when it comes to privacy because they throw it around carelessly. Okay. They also brought up section 702, and I believe that they used it correctly in what section 702 is for. Section 702 protects us from outside attacks, not inside people. Here's a quote. It says, "Section 702 authorizes targeted intelligence collections of specific types of foreign intelligence information, such as information concerning international terrorism or the acquisition of weapons of mass destruction, identified by the Attorney General and the Director of National Intelligence. Section 702 only permits the targeting of non-United States persons who are reasonably believed to be located outside the United States. United States persons and anyone in the United States may not be targeted under Section 702. Section 702 also prohibits reverse targeting. The IC may not target a non-US person located outside the US if the purpose of the collection is to collect information about the United States person or anyone located in the United States." And that was from intel.gov. Okay, then the affirmative team also brought their plan, and they said that they would empower a commissioner to overlook the security procedures that would be taking place. But that person in general can also be, well, they can't ensure that that person is going to guarantee the whole safety of the U.S. By that, any more than the government people we already have in place. Okay. I don't really have much more. So, thank you. I am now ready for cross-examination.
You see like 2 minutes, maybe even less.
read a copy of the 1NC, please? You said the commissioner wouldn't be better than our current government, correct?
Correct.
Are you saying our government is poor to mistakes like any human is?
Can you repeat the question?
Are you saying that our government is poor? Like, is our government poor? Is like the commissioner going to do a poor job because he's like the rest of the government?
Well, I'm saying that if you're arguing that our government right now isn't doing a good job, then if you add a commissioner, that's not gonna make it any better. Because there's still another human.
Yeah. So are you accepting our other harms? You agree that it's violating the 4th Amendment to spy on citizens?
We do not have anything against that at the moment.
You said you argued against domestic surveillance. Our source was the NSA, the National Security Agency. I feel like they have a stronger say than Merriam-Webster.
Let's see. I don't remember exactly what you had as your definition for that, but again, yeah, you could repeat that. I can give you clarification.
Domestic surveillance involves the collection and warehousing of all domestically generated information streams. The mission of Domestic Surveillance Directorate is simple: collect, process, and store U.S. citizen data for the good of the nation. NSA.gov.
After hearing it again, okay, I do believe that they're similar enough, and so we can accept yours.
Do you accept our advantages as well?
Your advantage about, let's see, that their civil liberties won't be taken away. That one, again, we don't have anything against that. But in terms of privacy, we do not agree because, like the quote I mentioned earlier, people don't care as much about their privacy as they seem to. So domestic surveillance really doesn't seem to have an impact.
So the government is taking away civil liberties of its citizens.
Again, I don't have anything against that right now.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay. And would you guys like to use some prep time? Ready? Okay, so back to 8.
Ladies and judges ready?
Yes.
Timer ready?
Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Karina Hire, stand for the resolution that the United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. As are stated in our affirmative constructive, it is clearly a fact that the citizens of the United States do not trust their government. The American public lacks their trust for the government because they are blatantly violating the 4th Amendment. The government is invading the privacy of its own citizens, and they are using the risk of terrorist attacks to take away citizens' rights to privacy. We once again state that there are serious problems with the way that the United States government is asking for something that has been declared illegal. Observation 1, they agree to our definitions. So observation 2, harms. Harm 1, United States federal government domestic surveillance is violating the 4th Amendment. Quote, first, change in communication technology since the FISA 1978 enactment have dramatically altered the reach of the law. In 2008, Congress addressed one of the unintended outcomes of these changes. The government was required to obtain the FISA, or FISA, court to order to collect purely foreign communications, simply because they were routed through or stored in the United States. However, Congress failed to fully address the flip side of the issue. Massive amounts of American communications and other sensitive information are routed and stored. Congress failed to fully address the flip side of the issue. Massive amounts of Americans' communications and other sensitive information are routed and stored overseas, rendering them vulnerable to collection outside of statutory framework. To complete the modernized of FISA that began with Section 702, Congress must close this critical gap in coverage. Second quote for the same harm. Because of the highly technical definition of the term, however, the exclusivity provision fails to reach many types of collection covered by the FISA. There are ample reasons for concern that the government is exploiting these gaps to collect some of the most sensitive data Americans generate without adhering to FISA's requirements, including by purchasing it from its data brokers. Congress should fill in the holes in FISA's exclusivity provision and a bar at the government from buying its way around FISA and other legal restrictions on the government access to American data. Source: How to Fix Surveillance Law, Brennan Center for Justice. Harm 2. The United States government is invading privacy of the citizens. Quote, in modern life, privacy is no longer a given. People are being tracked on their daily commute, work online, and when they're shopping. Two NSA surveillance programs were exposed in press reports in June 2013. First, a Guardian report disclosed a classified foreign intelligence surveillance court, instructing Verizon, one of the largest U.S. telecommunication firms, to hand over a phone record of millions of Americans to the NSA. Other secret programs, codenames PRISM, access troves of communication data, audio, video chats, emails, photos, and other media from several U.S. technology companies. According to the Washington Post, subsequent leaks revealed details on the additional program that gave NSA extensive electronic surveillance tools, both domestic and international, allowing the government to track and tap into conversations of suspect terrorists, foreign heads of state. Source: U.S. domestic surveillance. Harm 3. The government uses the threat of terrorist attacks to take away citizens' rights of privacy. Quote, a review of the government's claims about the role that NSA bulk surveillance of the phone and email communications record has had in keeping the United States safe from terrorism shows that these claims are overblown and even misleading. In an in-depth analysis, 225 individuals recruited by Al-Qaeda or like-minded Al-Qaeda, or a like-minded group or inspired by Al-Qaeda's ideology, are charged in the United States with an act of terrorism since 9/11, demonstrates that traditional investigation methods, such as use of informants, tips from local communities, and targeted intelligence operations, provide the initial impetus for the investigation of the majority of cases. While these contribution of NSA's bulk surveillance programs to these cases was minimal. Source: Do NSA bulk surveillance programs stop terrorists? 3. They accepted our plan. So, observation 4. Advantages. Advantage 1. With further protection of the Fourth Amendment, the citizens will have full faith that there is a person, house, papers, and effects will be protected as the founding fathers have intended. Quote, privacy is an inherent human right and requires for maintaining the human condition with dignity and respect. Bruce Skinner, an American cryptographer, computer security professional, and hardware specialist and writer. Quote by Bruce Skinner. Advantage 2. With the knowledge that surveillance programs of the federal government now have an oversight, Americans trust for the government can once again grow. Quote, and the government by secrecy benefits no one. It injures the people and seeks to serve. It damages its own integrity and operation. It breeds distrust, dampens the fervor of citizens, and mocks their loyalty. Russell Long, Senator of Louisiana. Source: Top 5 Russell B. Long quotes, or quotehands.com. Advantage 3. Americans will have faith that in the event of a terrorist attack, their civil liberties will not be taken away, thus losing what it means to be an American citizen. Quote, without liberty, laws lose its nature and its name. It becomes oppression. Without law, liberty also loses its nature and its name. It becomes licentious. I can't say that word. James Wilson, former Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. Source: James Q. Wilson quotes. In conclusion, hereby quote by George Washington: Liberty, when it begins to take root, is planned to rapid growth. It is a plant of rapid growth. Therefore, my partners, Reagan, Adams, Sawyer Bush, and I, Karina Heyer, are for the resolution that the United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. Thank you. I'm now ready for cross-examination.
Are you using prep time?
30 seconds.
Is the timer ready?
Yes.
Confidence.
Yes.
Could you mention, read harm to me again about the electronics?
The entire thing?
Just the first part.
That one? In modern life, privacy is no longer a given. People are being tracked on their daily commute, at work, online, and in their shopping.
And are you saying tracking is bad because of their personal information? So what if tracking was a way to secure their safety?
Depends on your situation. But it also, if there's like a security camera, if you're super basic question, sorry.
If tracking was in order for their security, then are you saying it's still not allowed? So you're saying if we're not safe, that's okay as long as we privacy. Could you read your advantage one again?
Should I? Well, you guys accept our advantage.
Can you read again?
With further protection of the, do you hear me?
Just read the advantage.
With further protections of the Fourth Amendment, the citizens will have full faith that their person, houses, papers, and effects will be protected as the founding fathers have intended.
Protect against who exactly? Against the government? Against people trying to break in and steal your stuff? Against who?
Wait, sorry, my brain's not working. What's your question again?
You said their personal stuff will be protected. Against who exactly?
Government.
So is it still a chance that people outside the government can come spy on their stuff too? Could you read your advantage too? Can you read it again?
With knowledge that the surveillance programs of the federal government now have an oversight, Americans' trust for the government can once again grow.
What do you mean by grow?
Can improve protection.
So growing protection? Or what you're saying? So, you mean you don't know?
Or they grow in like the trust that they're not.
So it's not his advantage three? Not the advantage two? This is okay. Okay, read advantage three again, please.
Americans will have faith in the event of a terrorist attack. Their civil liberties will not be taken away, thus losing what it means to be an American citizen.
So, sorry, read it one more time.
Americans will have faith in the event of a terrorist attack. Their civil liberties will not be taken away, thus losing what it means to be an American
Alright, good go.
Oh wait, we lost our timer. Yeah, it went away.
Can you, tell me how much prep time?
Just a minute.
1 minute? Yeah. Quick side note, debate etiquette, remember cross-ex, you're facing forward.
We don't look at each other, but look at them.
Because they're talking to the judge.
They're talking to the judge. Okay. good note. I didn't even know. I didn't share this.
Question. If the negative team doesn't have a copy of their 1 and Z,
We're not supposed to, what you guys are.
because we can't, we don't know what they're gonna provide. So they talk
Only the
them.
one AC has to provide a copy of their one AC constructive. Do you want to use more, or that was 1 minute?
How much time do we have left?
Okay, you have,
You have 4.5?
yeah,
Okay, can I use 30 more seconds?
yeah, you have 3.5 minutes left. It's 4:30. Yeah, 4.
Oh, that's right.
They're using another minute.
So now they'll have used 4. Because she used 30 seconds.
They'll be at 5:30 after that, so they'll have 2.5 left. First, they use 3 minutes first. They asked for 2, but then they asked for 9. So they use 3 minutes, and then they use 30 seconds. And then a minute. So they have 2.5 minutes.
No, I'm done.
Wait, 2. So they did 3, then 30, then a minute, then 30. Okay.
Yeah, a minute and a minute.
Thank you.
This is 5 minutes. I know.
Is the judges ready?
Yes.
Timer ready?
Yes.
Opposing team ready? Resolution. The United States federal government should substantially curtail its domestic surveillance. Arm 1.
It should not. It should not.
Left.
Do that. I got you.
The decline in crime provided by domestic surveillance give reason to rest easier, knowing that you are secure. Quote, additionally, crimes can be deterred before they even begin in some cases. If a suspicious individual or individuals or items are seen in an area, the appropriate authorities can be contacted to move into the area before any damage is done, or any crime is committed. Moreover, any people in the area can be cleared as a precaution. Since public safety is guaranteed, people's fear of crime can also be reduced, while their sense of security is created. Summary. The need for safety is fulfilled with surveillance systems set in place. With crime having been reduced due to visible cameras, worry over possible criminal attacks is also reduced in turn. People also don't think that all domestic surveillance invades privacy. Quote, in public security camera good or bad debate, the first question is whether the surveillance cameras in public places are an invasion of privacy. 42% say yes and 58% say no, according to the debate.org and the security cameras and privacy discussion. Summary. Though it is easy to think that everyone is against domestic surveillance, that is not the case. According to this statistic, a majority of people say that public security cameras, a form of domestic surveillance, aren't any invasion of privacy. Harm 2. Security measures help actually deter crimes or criminals. Quote, the mere presence of security cameras can change the plans of potential offenders. Knowing they are being watched and captured on video in real time forces many to think twice before engaging in illegal activities. Source, steelmonitoring.com. Summary. When criminals know they are being watched, they don't like it. For example, would you steal from the cookie jar if your parents were right there watching you? I don't think so. This is exactly how domestic surveillance deters crimes.
their advantage one. They said they would have full protection and faith against anyone. Against who exactly? Against the government? What's the point of the government? They're trying to keep you safe from people. But if you don't care about that only the government seeing your personal information, then what's the point in the first place? That is all. I'm not ready for cross-examination.
It's just like a minute and a half.
Guys, is ready?
Yes. Yes.
I'm ready. Okay, so, firstly, for your advantages in my seat, or one and C, you guys already agreed to our advantages.
Actually, we did not. We just said we had nothing at the moment. We didn't fully agree with them.
Okay. Can you repeat your first oath and then what's the source for that? Was that also for a harm?
Sorry, just a second. I had two harms, or two votes for my mom. Which one did you read?
Can you just repeat the sources? Like the tagline and the sources.
Okay, tagline number one. People don't think that all domestic surveillance invades privacy. The source is. Where are you? Right here.
Just read that.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh. Reallink.com.
You are arguing that you want public safety, so you're saying that you want security cameras in public stuff, but we are arguing that we want security cameras in private, or we don't want. So we're saying is the security cameras, you're arguing that you want them in public, but we don't want them when we're private at homes and at schools or whatever. So that's what we are arguing, but
We're saying both are necessary and safety for our citizens.
you, I think, yeah. Can you repeat your, source for a second?
Second.
For your second vote.
For first home or
So cause you did the thing, you read the first one, and then you did the second vote.
yes.
Or just read all your sources.
Okay. The second one is also reallink.com. And then do you want the other one? And then-
That's my questions. Thank you.
Okay, so negative. It's the negative block, so you guys are gonna get up. So, do you want? How much prep time do we say they have left?
They have, yeah.
Okay.
Well, they have 4.5 minutes.
And you have 2 speeches left. So, how much do you want to use right now?
A minute and a half right now.
That was their focus.
The next 4 speeches are just and there's no cost. Okay.
seconds.
Okay, 30.
Is another 30? Okay, so you have to have, they took a total of 2 minutes. How long do they get for rebuttals? What is their time? About 5 minutes. And there's no cross. So it's like they get 5 minutes and then they get 3 minutes. And the only pause would be prep time. So they can go 5 minutes and then they're done. Yeah, 4 more
2
speeches.
minutes left.
Each one gets 5
No,
minutes. So
but
5.
Okay, 15 more
20
seconds.
minutes. Oh, so they get 2 each. So that takes
oh, they're
2
gone.
minutes.
Oh.
15.
Lucky.
And that's, is it 3 minutes?
Yeah, I don't
You
think
know
5.
it.
5. Yeah, 5. Yeah.
Anyways,
They're at 7.
that's the bar.
So they have
Depends if you want mine.
Unless
They only have 15.
I'm not using
Okay.
the no.
1 minute 45. No, 1 minute.
They just used 2 15. And
And they
they
had 5.
We
they only they
Yeah,
didn't
they
use
did
that
just
other
the
30
short.
minutes. Okay.
30 minutes?
Seconds.
You're fine.
Whatever.
Go ahead.
I think I'd like to use some more teammates.
So they have 30 seconds.
Okay. Are the judges ready?
Yes, sir.
Is the timer ready?
Yes.
Is the opposing team
Oh, yeah.
ready?
We're ready.
Ooh, that makes me scared. I'm really scared now, but it's okay. Okay. First, negative rebuttal is what this one is. Okay.
Hang on, it's gonna be loud. Sorry, this is scary. We get it right back.
My apologies, everybody. Okay. First and foremost, it's okay. So the affirmative team repeatedly used Section 702 as an example of how government surveillance is used to gather civilian information illegally. However, that is incorrect, to put it blatantly. As clearly stated, Section 702 only permits the targeting of non-United States persons who are reasonably believed to be located outside of the United States. The affirmative team has failed to present any argument or, against or for how Section 702 could possibly, in any way, shape, or form, be used to obtain civilian information illegally. They also said that people could rest assured because their safety or their information is out of government hands, and they can feel secure in that they are safe from possible misuse of government control. However, this opens up. Okay. My apologies. I'll come back to that one. The affirmative, their plan, if I remember correctly, was to take away all of the laws. I'm not gonna be able to remember it enough. My apologies. the affirmative team had said that they would be safer if domestic surveillance was curtailed. They said that they would be safe far away from the corrupted hands of the government. But while they may feel more secure, it is not a tangible argument in that the government does not take action and use your personal and private information unless you are, let me quote this, if I can find it, unless you are, never mind, I can't find it, reasonably believed to be involved in a crime or a series of crimes. They said that people would feel more secure because their private information would not be out there for the world to see. But this is also an invalid argument, as even with domestic surveillance in place, your information isn't out there willy-nilly. It is secure, and I don't have a quote for that either. Gosh darn it. Unless I do.
Time.
You said time? I am so sorry, guys. I rambled and I give you ample time to think about the argument.
Okay, affirmative. Would you like to use prep time?
No.
Saving it all for the end. She's ready. Okay.
I want to say out actually. Get up later.
Is the judges ready? Timer?
Yes.
Other team? Yeah.
Guys are doing great.
You do.
We're gonna go down with fight. That's going great.
Okay, first negative rebuttal. Right off the bat, our first harm, which was that the,
Which one was it? I want to read it right off. This one, thank you.
the United States federal government's domestic surveillance is violating the Fourth Amendment. They've said nothing on that, and that does not change the fact that the current domestic surveillance is in fact violating the Fourth Amendment, and nothing they've said has changed that fact. They also mentioned privacy isn't valued by American citizens. Even if the people aren't valuing their privacy, the government still should work to protect its citizens' privacy and not work against it like they're currently doing. They also mentioned that the negative team also mentioned that we misuse Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. This is untrue. We are not misusing this section 702. The government is the one misusing this section. The negative team said that Section 702 operates in foreign affairs. That is correct. The U.S. government is using the threat of foreign terrorist attacks to helicopter parent its citizens. In our definition, according to the National Security Agency, or better known as the NSA, 702 this is what they're doing. They're using 702 to collect and warehouse all of the domestically generated information streams. The mission of domestic surveillance directorate is simple: collect, process, and store U.S. citizen data for the good of the nation. So even though they say, oh yeah, this is to protect us from terrorist attacks, they're turning that and using it on American citizens, even if there is no cause, reason, warrant, whatever, to do that. In the cross and their 2NC, Abigail continued to bring up our advantages. However, even though they said nothing at the moment, they did not agree nor disagree. But they continue to try to bring it up and use it against us. They didn't say, oh no, you could have said, we disagree, but we don't have anything. But they didn't. They just continued to operate in the unknown, and they didn't have anything, and tried to use it against us. They also brought up public safety. They said the current surveillance
is keeping us safe. It's keeping criminals from operating crimes because there's cameras. That's not what we're talking about. We are not here debating public surveillance. We're talking about domestic, in your home, in your life. We're telling the government to butt out. If you're out in public, okay, you're gonna get filmed. You go to a baseball game, you're gonna be on TV. You jaywalk, you're gonna be on a camera. You run a red light, that is valid. We are not saying stop recording people in public. We're saying in your home, that is not where the government should be processing and taking information. Yeah, and that's all I have for my first rebuttal. Thank you.
Good. Alright,
Everyone's moving.
so how much prep time do they have left?
They have 45 seconds.
Might as well use it.
Use it up.
Yep.
Seconds. You're out.
One or second negative rebuttal. Is the judges ready?
Yes.
Is the timer ready?
Yes.
Is the other team ready? Okay. Okay. The affirmative team, they brought up how many people wanted privacy and all of that, but they said that domestic surveillance invades their privacy, but they never gave any statistics or anything about people saying that it makes them uncomfortable that the government is surveilling them. We brought up statistics that prove, yes, people don't care about their privacy. They also said earlier in their 1AC that that domestic surveillance shouldn't be there because they shouldn't be surveying all the American people. They should be protecting the American people. But keep in mind, there are also criminals in America. America's not this perfect country where everybody's got all like the right intentions. So domestic surveillance was put in to help deter crimes and to watch the criminals. The people that haven't done anything wrong have nothing to fear. They have nothing to hide. Also, in the definitions of what the Fourth Amendment states, it's talking about a reasonable, like, they can't invade people's privacy without a reasonable cause. But an unreasonable form of invading privacy would be like having a camera in a bathroom or in a changing room. It would be unreasonable. But it is reasonable to monitor people and their activities in order to protect America. There's a purpose behind that. Also in their plan, they talked about the commissioner and again having him overseeing the uses of domestic surveillance within the government. But again, if they're saying that the government is already corrupt right now, adding a commissioner will not change anything. It won't fix anything. So therefore, it won't solve anything. It won't, and then they said, they continually brought up that it would be safer without domestic surveillance. And yes, we did use quotes concerning security cameras, which are a form of public surveillance, but it does deter crimes in that criminals know they're gonna be watched, like our cookie jar analogy earlier. If they know they're being watched, they're not gonna commit as many crimes. And this tactic works the same way with domestic surveillance, whether it's on your phone, whether it's in your house. If people know that they're gonna be watched, and criminals know, okay, if I'm hacking into somebody's account or whatnot, that's gonna be watched and recorded, it will deter them. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Good job. Very good. Alright.
you guys need prep time?
No.
Kind of continue.
Oh, not today. Don't worry.
I'm scared.
Okay, second affirmative rebuttal. Alright, the judge is ready. Timer.
Yes.
Other team.
You ready?
Okay. In Abrams' rebuttal, he mentioned safety from government. But then he continued to reason in circles, and I don't even think I fully understand what he was trying to say, and I'm not sure if it did us good or bad or hurt themselves. I don't even know what was going on there. He also mentioned our plan. He said that we wanted to get rid of all the surveillance laws, which is not true. We said spying on American citizens is wrong. Go ahead and spy on enemies, illegal immigrants. We encourage it. We're not saying, again, we are not arguing public. We're talking in the homes of people. And we are saying that spying on American citizens is wrong in that sense. Also, they're trying to debate liberty over safety. It's not what we are debating. We are debating domestic surveillance. They continue to try to bring this up, and that is irrelevant to what we are discussing. Gracie just said that there are criminals living in America, and that's why we need domestic surveillance. Just because there are criminals living in America does not mean everybody should be watched and stopped by the government. If maybe that means the government needs to implement rules in that case, where we do watch criminals. But that is not what we are discussing. We're talking about American citizens, people who are they've not been in jail, they are completely innocent, are being watched in their homes and have no sense of privacy in this. Gracie also mentioned that the government is being unreasonable in that what we're saying in that sense is, but the government is being unreasonable because they're in our technology and they're in our homes. I don't know how much more unreasonable you can get where you can't even be in your own home without the government all up in your business. So, thank you.
Good job.
I love it. That's so funny.
You're done.
You did it.
All right.
Okay, now everybody stand up together so I can get a picture of you all together. And then we have a
Okay.
picture.
No, that was not
We
shameful.
hugged it out. We hugged it out.
Okay, everybody stand at the podium. Good job.
First.
Just a handshake.
You don't want a hug.
Okay, gather near the podium.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to eat center of the podium?
Yeah, perfect. You guys are kind of like coordinated with your color scheme.
Oh, we kind of. That's
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Sure.
1, 2, 3. Hold on, one more.
You guys
Great job.
We need a Laura real quick.
Oh yeah.
Laura, get in there, a timer lady.
No,
Come
no,
on.
I'm so close, Karina.
Guys, I bet we could stagger it. Like, you know, it'll go like. boom,
No,
boom,
one's
boom.
gotta be in the front. Like, right
No,
here.
no, no, no.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm so proud. Good job. Good.
Yay, good job, good job.
You look so much better this year, Lon. I love cross-examining you.
All right, do you guys want to change clothes before we talk about
Yes.
it? Okay.
Okay, but wait, before you guys change clothes, I want to get a picture of